Hello, this is Ursula Odom, and welcome to Wisdom and Young Legends. And today we have a wonderful young person that I can't wait to share with you. Her name is Kirby Gilmore, and she has an incredible story that I think will truly be motivating to young people, older people, people in general, because the wisdom that's wrapped up in this young lady is just amazing. And just wait till you hear how young she really was when she got started. It's incredible. So I'm not going to get into a long dissertation about who she is. I'm going to let her share that with you herself. So hello, Kirby, and tell us who you are and what you do.
Hello, Ursula. Again, as she said, my name is Kirby Gilmore. I am a Miami native, and what I do currently is I have a business called Kirby Co. that sells inspirational apparel, and a portion of the proceeds goes to my non-for-profit Kirby's Year-Round project that donates toys and school supplies to underserved children in the local communities. But obviously, I didn't just start off like that. I was born in Miami and then moved to Ohio when I was younger and lived there for a few years. So I did come back a Cavs fan and Brown fan. But on my return back to Florida, there were some trials and tribulations that my family did go through. But in all, it made me a stronger and wiser person. The three things that my mom instilled in me at a young age were academics, athletics, and activities, the three A's. And that actually helped me push more as a younger individual. So activities, I used to play instruments when I was younger. I've played the violin, viola, piano, and I currently play the ukulele. I also take part in extracurricular sports, so flag football, track and field basketball, because being active is always necessary. And activity-wise, in and outside of school, I was a part of SWAT, which stands for Students Working Against Tobacco, in addition to the National Junior Honor Society and the National Honor Society. And when I was in high school, I was a part of the District Student Government Association as president. So I have been quite involved, but all of this kind of occurred due to my mother's support and her pushing me, and also knowing that in life, what you want, you just have to go for it. And a program that helped me realize that helping individuals and being around people was what I really wanted to do was the Disney Dreamers Academy, which is a program with Steve Harvey and Essence Magazine that I thankfully was able to get to participate in. And through that program, I realized that I did not want to be a veterinarian, because I did want to be a veterinarian for many years, and I still advocate for animals because they are great. But working with individuals was my true calling and passion. So that is a little bit about me.
A little bit about you. My goodness, there's nothing a little bit about that. Oh, my Lord. So one of the things I usually ask, because you just said so much, and there are so many things I could ask you, but let's go back to something I typically ask, and that is, what was 5-year-old Kirby like?
5-year-old Kirby. This was when I was still in Ohio. So 5-year-old Kirby liked the snow, liked interacting with individuals. Also, 5-year-old Kirby knew she wanted to be a veterinarian. Interestingly enough, I did know I had like a passion for animals. I liked interacting with them, and I believe it was around 5 or more, like 6 or 7. I started to sell candy under like my business called Faith Enterprises, and I would use that money and donate that to charitable causes like the Humane Society. So that's what 5-year-old Kirby was like.
Now, where did you get the spirit of giving from, that you would donate money? Who was your example for that?
I would have to say my mother. She was a very giving individual, and I just learned. I learned at a young age I had self-gratification through helping others, and it just made me happy when I saw someone happy or knew I was doing something good. So through her and through, I guess, my very young realization that I liked helping others, I realized that I wanted to give back. And I realize now that the quote by Charles Dickens, "No one is useless in this world that lightens the burden of another," is something that I've actually been living by for quite some time. So all those components led to me wanting to help people at a very young age.
It's amazing how words really do matter when you carry that in your heart. I think about what my grandmother used to tell me when I was a little girl, that she said, "You're a blessed child." I had no idea what she was talking about. But I realize now that those words help me through all kinds of times. When I am sad, I'm blessed, and this too shall pass. When I'm happy, I'm blessed. So thank you very much. So it's amazing how you can wrap your brain around some words that will carry you through life. And when you find those words, it's wonderful. Now, I also know that at what, 14 years old, you did something pretty extraordinary as well. Or how old were you?
Are you talking about Free Vet Society for Youth?
When you started a business or something like that, didn't you?
Yes. So it was actually when I was 12,
Ah,
I started a Facebook page called Pre-Vet Society for Youth, which provided information about veterinarian schools in the United States to other preteens of my age, so they can start getting information about a veterinarian career path. And that's actually what led me to get chosen to be one of the Disney Dreamers for the Disney Dreamers Academy, because of those efforts that I had. And that kind of just led on to me doing bigger and better things.
wow. Oh, so I hear a puppy. Is that how many animals do you have? Or do you?
So I've actually only had two animals in my life, like owned wise. I had a cat. Its name was Saturn. And I had that when I got back to Florida and for a few years until we had to move. And then I was able to keep a betta fish alive for around 6 months, and I was pretty proud about that. So I've never really had a lot of animals on my own, but interacting with my friends' animals, and I used to work in a veterinarian clinic for 2.5 years. So interacting with those animals is what gave me my passion for animals.
So what life lessons learned have you gotten from animals? By watching animals, what have you learned?
I have learned to one, live in the moment. Animals, like normally, domesticated animals like dogs and cats, they're very free. They're very in the moment type animals, and they're trying to just appreciate what they can get and what they can do at that time period. Also, I used to volunteer at the zoo as a conservation team scientist, excuse me. And I got to interact with one of the white-handed gibbons there, which is a type of ape. Some people think they're monkeys, but the difference between a monkey and an ape is that ape doesn't have a tail, a monkey does. So there's this white-handed gibbon at the Miami Zoo. His name was Henry, and it was always happy. People don't really think of animals having like emotions, but this white-handed gibbon did. It had facial expressions. It would do thing gestures with its hands, like waving and like smiling and hooting, which meant like that it was like saying hi. So I learned to be friendly and open to all through also with the animals, and to have a support group, because even though it sounds a little like what animals do have their like their herds, their groups, like the lions, they have their pack. The giraffes, they make sure each other is okay by actually like checking up on each other's health through a very interesting method, which I'll refrain from saying, but you guys can look that up. But animals have their own like friend groups and like keep individuals to stick around. So I just say having a strong friend group or environment to be around.
Amazing. I had no idea what you would say in response to that question. However, I do have my own opinion too, because I've had puppies and animals from the time I was a little girl. I don't recall any time, except maybe during college, that I personally did not have an animal of some kind. And my boxer, who just passed away about a year ago, I know, I laugh and joke sometimes. I said, to people, I said, when you wiggle your tail and jump and be as happy to see me as my boxer, then you'll be all right. I mean, because that little dog could create a wind tunnel when I came home, not because I was little, but
Yeah.
yeah, being so happy and so content just to have you in their presence. But I have a little joke about my dog, actually. I was walking a boxer, which looks mean, but they're such charming little, I mean, I say little, but he's nothing little about him. But I was walking the dog, and I had this big old stick because I wasn't used to walking down the street with the dog, nor in the neighborhood where there were dogs. And somebody yelled out the car, "You got the dog, you don't need the stick." But as it turns out, two German shepherds jumped the fence while we were on that walk. And
Oh,
what happened?
wow.
Um, I was saying, I was saying that um, there were two boxers that jumped, not boxers, two German shepherds that jumped the fence. And my dog actually looked at them like, "I'm not concerned with you," and he was just being friendly and what have you. And he look, I tell you not, the dog looked at me like, "You got this, right?" He was not at all concerned.
Wow.
Yeah, so that both of those things happened on the same day. Somebody yelled out the car, "You got the dog, you don't need the stick." And then Bingo actually looked at me and said, "You got this."
Unbelievable.
But anyway, so back to you.
That's funny.
Um, what are some of the things that mama said or daddy said or grandma or granddaddy said that were motivating for you?
So I'll say something from my mom and something from my dad. The one thing that I remember that stuck with me when I was like younger, when I came back to Florida with my mother, was be better than your situation. Because some people will have rough times in life, and some people will try to use that as a crutch or an excuse for not doing well or pushing as hard. And my mom was telling me, you don't have the time for that because life is so short. Things happen. If you start using that as an excuse, and now you're hindering yourself. And so I found that really strong, being better than your situation. Um, and then my father, uh, not really of a phrase, but one of the things he would always push is education and standardized testing. So when I believe it was like 10 or 11, he bought me an SAT book to start studying for the SAT, because he knew that higher education is necessary now. A high school degree, what it could do 20 years ago, is basically what a bachelor's degree will do now. Everyone wants more intelligent uh, workers or employees, and he could predict that like further on. So he would ask me and my brother to study, look at the book, start practicing problems. If you have any trouble in math or reading, get help now, because if you start with a strong base, you can build upon it later, and that'll be useful. Your work habits, your studying routine, that'll be useful in the future. So,
Amazing. So, what are some of your future goals?
some of my future goals. So one of them is, of course, making Kirby Co. A national company, like known nationally, along with Kirby's Year Round Project. I want it to be able to reach multiple individuals, like from East Coast to West Coast, and maybe even internationally. Who knows? I want it to be spread out. I want it to touch people and change their lives for the better, because providing someone with just a little bit of support could kickstart them to doing greatness. You never know. So making that an national, international organizations, both of those would be great, and that is one of my goals. Additionally, I'm a hospitality major, and most people think of hotels, but I'm not really gearing more towards hotels. I'm gearing more towards event planning, and more specifically at a DMC, which is a destination management company. And so these are companies within like large metropolitan regions or hub cities that puts together conventions or large scale events in that specific region. And I always thought that would be very exciting to be a part of something that would like you planned it out, you execute, and you can see the results as it goes. And I find that very satisfying. So being a part of a DMC, being an exec at a DMC, those are my top 3 goals at the time.
So, what was the moment where you realized this? Did you attend an event that was just off the chain good or bad, or what inspired you?
So what I realized when I realized that I wanted to do hospitality, but not specifically hotels, was last year summer. I got an internship through the commissioner. Yes, the commissioner. I feel so bad that I cannot remember her name at the time, but I will get that for you as well. I got an internship through the commissioner for the Greater Miami Conventions and Visitors Bureau, which is the DMO, or Destination Marketing Organization of Miami. So basically, they're the main marketers for Miami. Like, they advertise it to like Germany and like South America and like all over the U.S. to get people to come to Miami. And I started working for them over the summer, and then they hired me later to be a vendor. And so I realized that there's so much more to hospitality than just working at a hotel or a cruise line, even though those are still very great industries. And even if you're like the Fortune 1000 like companies, that would be great to be a part of. But I found it more interesting to be in the makeup and setup of events. And then I took a intro to meetings and events class over the summer while I was working, and I really like specifically narrowed it down to working at destination management companies. So that's kind of how I figured out where I wanted to go.
My first awareness of the value of that from a country outside of the United States came when I Googled the title of my book and found out that someplace in Europe had listed it as a book to get when you're coming to Tampa because it was African Americans of Tampa. And it was amazing to see that in print, that somewhere outside of the United States had my book on their list of books to get. So that now has me wondering what you ultimately will end up having control over relative to the lives of people outside of this United States coming here, you know.
Truly.
Yeah. So as you grow older, and it sounds as if you have a wonderful relationship with your parents, and maybe you haven't had this point that I'm about to ask. I usually ask, what was your breakaway moment where you became an adult without breaking up the relationship between you and your parents? The independence moment.
Independent moment. So I think I would say my independent moment at this time would be when I was in 11th grade and got accepted into a dual enrollment school where I would be graduating with my associate's degree and my high school diploma at the same time. And
Wow.
I'd say it was then because the workload changed. Like, I couldn't really ask my parents for help because these are classes that are like college based, and this is like this first step to higher education. And so I kind of had to, like, I would say, figure it out on my own for for the first time, and had to just use the resources on campus or seek out answers on the internet or through my peers. So that would have to be the first time that I had a breakaway independent moment. And I guess the second time would be when I actually physically moved on campus to Florida Atlantic University, which is where I attend now, and then really experience the disconnect because I don't see them as often or in person. So those would be the moments when I realized that, hey, I'm an adult now, but I can still talk to my parents for help.
So what's college life really like compared to what you thought it would be like?
College life. So it's not like the movies. There's not parties every weekend.
Oh,
People
don't tell
do
them
care.
that.
Yeah, no, people do care about their grades. I surround myself with very academic individuals so I can be more motivated to do my work instead of procrastinating. I also still have like my checkpoint reward system, which I kind of used this morning to start off one of my assignments that are due on Friday. And so
Let's stop right there. Tell us about your checkpoint rewards. What
yeah.
is that?
Okay, so checkpoint rewards is when you are completing an assignment or an activity, something that's not as pleasurable to you, and you need a little motivation to get through it. So you have points within the assignment where you'll stop and reward yourself. So today I had to work on an assignment about attractions in a 50-mile radius of my school. And each attraction I had to write a description of what it was like and who would be attracted to it and what hotels would be doing to get a target market. So it's very detailed and it's a lot of information. And I'd rather, sleep or watch an interesting video on YouTube. But how I made myself get through it is first I listed all the attractions, and after I was done listing all the attractions, I had like a 10-minute break where I just watched videos or talk to a friend to like de-stress. And then I'd go back for like another 20 minutes and start writing the description of each attraction and how hotels would target those target markets. And then I took another break and like went to go eat food with some friends. And now I'm doing this interview, which is one of my checkpoint rewards on my little break. And then after that, I have to get back into completing the assignment. So yeah, that's my checkpoint reward. What else? What else is different about college? So I wasn't expecting the independence to be so out there, if that makes sense. So, because normally people are like, oh yeah, when you go to college, like, you know, you're on your own, not fully, but I kind of have a choice in what I can do in my day. I can go to class, which I do, or I could, you know, go out and sleep. I could travel to other colleges with my friends to meet new people and go to different events, or I could just go to the beach near my school because we are only a few miles from the coast. And I could just go to the beach at night and walk around and see the sea turtle nest because it is hatching season. And it's just that I have a choice in like making my schedule, and I have to prioritize. Like hatching season, like this is a time where the turtles will come out and lay their nest and then go back into the ocean.
Oh, okay. So in terms of role models, who would you say your role model is, or who's some person that has stood out because of something they uniquely did?
Mm-hmm. So I would say 100% my role model is my mom. She's a very empathetic, open-minded, very loving individual. And I do look up to her for that. In terms of an individual that stood out for me, I'm trying to think, because that is a very great question, and I have not thought of an answer to that as of yet. But someone I would say that stands out to me would probably be, okay, so there's a YouTuber, his name is David Dobrik. He's like on the rise because he's been gaining followers. He basically has videos where he does things with his friends, or they'll do like cool tricks, or like sometimes it involves jumping off of a building into like a pool full of what is it called? Frozen ice. There's a word for it. Yeah. So they do a lot of extreme things. So that seems like outlandish and it's fun and entertaining to watch. But then if you go to his podcast where he speaks about how he's gotten to this point and how he doesn't take a break because he's very thankful for the opportunities that he has and the people that he can touch and the people that he helps. Because even though he's doing all these extreme things, he's gaining money to help those around him. He gives cars to his friends who've been there for him and helps him out. He buys premiere tickets for them so that they can go see something they love. He buys vacation tickets for them so he can truly show his appreciation. So all in all, he is a very open-hearted person, mm-hmm. and shows it in a very fun and exciting way, but still is able to touch people. So I would say he is someone that stuck out to me in this recent time, because he has the two sides to him, the fun side and the I'm doing this because I'm grateful for what I have.
Now, your example reminds me of someone that I became aware of. Her name is Glozell Green. I don't know if you're aware of her. She wears or did green makeup because of her name being green and everything around her is green. And she was doing some outlandish 1-minute things on YouTube. And in fact, got interviewed by the President of the United States, President Obama, when he had 4 YouTubers that were influential. She was one of them. And trying to understand the craziness of what she was doing, I thought back. I said, okay, so she's like, okay, I'm getting interference and I don't know what that is, but there's something on your end?
It might be my computer because it's on a table. If it sounds like a constant humming, that's it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So I was thinking about Glozell Green and trying to understand what was going on with her, and how could she do such crazy things? And I thought about Lucille Ball. I said, oh, okay, so she's like the Lucille Ball of today. So her craziness is a little bit more than what Lucille would do, but in Lucille's time, it was. So, okay, we need to take a break for a second. Okay.
All right.
Is it possible to lift it up, put it on something that,
Is that better? Wait, video. Is that
okay,
better sound wise for you?
I think so.
All right.
It's almost like, it almost sounds a little like uh, a vacuum cleaner, but not. It has more of a hole to it.
Yeah, kind of. I'm sorry, I didn't know it sounded that loud.
Okay,
It
but
just
it's
does that
fine.
when it's like working for a while.
Yeah, and it wasn't constant, so we'll just have to take a
Okay.
break on this one. Um, okay, so I was talking about Glozell Green.
Yes.
And what I realized about Glozell after that is that she built up a following and she built up resources that she ultimately started a children's channel. So all of that craziness turned into something that would position her to have her own children's channel. I think it's called Glow Bugs or something like that. Glow Buzz or something. It's just amazing. So I asked you what's next, but if resources were no issue at all, what is the absolute most amazing thing that you can envision yourself doing?
Oh wait, could you repeat your question? I'm sorry, it came out for a second.
Okay, I was just saying if resources are no issue, what is the most outrageous thing you can see yourself doing in the future?
Outrageous. I wouldn't say it would be outrageous. I'd still be helping individuals. I feel it would be through more of a event type method. So my generation really likes getting incentivized for things they do. So when it comes to my inspirational apparel, it's like, hey, you're buying this shirt and you're helping kids. So if I made it more focused to things that they're really interested in. So a lot of my friends and people that I know are very into music festivals. So if money wasn't a thing, I think I would be doing international music festivals or events or just pop-up parties that people can attend, and you just pay your fee, and all the proceeds would be going towards a cause. Um, and I think that would be pretty cool. Or traveling and, I don't know, somehow getting resources to also help individuals. So I wouldn't say it's very like outlandish or like outrageous. It would just be a little more like enticing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned several times about the charitable types of things that you're doing and giving back and what have you. How can people help you? Where can they reach you? How can they reach you?
Okay. So if you would like to help, first you can start by buying some of our clothing. So if you go to KirbyCo, KirbyCo.weebly, WEEBLY.com. You'll see on the page that there is a link to go to our website to buy our clothing, and a portion of the proceeds will be donated that way. Additionally, if you follow my business Instagram account, which is Kirby_co2016 on Instagram, that is where I'll be sending most of the volunteer information or the clothing updates so that people can get involved, because some people necessarily don't want to buy some of the clothing, but they still want to help out. So I'll be sending more information about that. I am planning an event within this fall semester before the year ends, on an event where your entrance fee is bringing a toy that costs more than $5 to come in. And so that's how we'll be getting toys and also be entertaining others. And that's kind of like the outlandish thing that I said I would like to do, like on a larger scale.
Yeah. Now, you're saying the name of the company reminds me that I'm not sure if you actually said it here. Tell me about the name Kirby
Oh,
and
yeah.
how it came about and the significance of your company name.
So how Kirby came about, because Kirby is an abbreviation for keeping it real, being yourself. And it is also my name. And I came up with it to be in that way because of the Disney Dreamers Academy that I went to with Steve Harvey. And he was stating, you got to brand yourself. Like, why wear others people's things when you can wear your own stuff? And I'm like, that makes sense. What if I just wore my own apparel that said, Kirby on it because it's me? But then people won't, like, some people aren't really enticed to just wear my name on them. So what if it had a meaning? And that's where I came up with keeping it real, being yourself. Because in my generation, we're very into authenticity, but there also seems to be a lot of like cookie cutter styles that a lot of people are taking on. And so I wanted to provide like an inspirational outlet that will allow them to wear something that describes themselves and also means that this is what they're wearing because they want to display how they truly are while helping others. So that is how Kirby Co came to be.
All right. Kirby Co. And Kirby Gilmore, thank you so very much. I've
No,
totally enjoyed hearing your story, and I know there's more to it. So, as you grow and as things happen, and as you realize these goals and dreams, get back in touch with me. Let's do this again.
will do.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. So, to my listening audience, thank you very much. And that's a wrap for this show. Take care.